I have a delay. That's weird. I don't know why. Why have I got a delay? Like I'm talking on here, and then it goes to... Okay. I don't know why. I shouldn't have a delay. The only difference has been that I can think of. Put that down a bit low. There you go. The only thing that's happened recently is Windows, as always, updating. But I don't know what it would have done to cause the delay in audio. It's really weird. Well, that's gonna be weird because I don't hear anything. Blah blah blah. Blah. Oh, there we go. So for some reason I just had to turn on and off the monitoring. Very weird. I don't get why it does that. But this is fine. But yes, it is the weekend. The weekend. And bar maybe the 10-minute mark, I have fixed the waves. As I... Oh yeah, as I literally said that. Yeah. So I took the audio and then, well, just made a proper loop of it. Because for some reason it tries to... The player itself, when it tries to loop things, has like a split-second gap, and it's very obvious. So I just made a 10-minute version for terms of space. Because if I was to do an hour long, it was already like 300 megs for a 10-minute version, so I'm not gonna have over a gig for having an hour-long version. 10 minutes is fine anyway. Means you'll only hear the stutter like 6 times an hour instead of 60? Yeah, instead of 60 times, so I think that's a fair trade. Listening to waves though is really... it's nice. Hey big chum. Hello. Welcome in. Hey Raven. Hello, hello. Welcome in. I haven't done the update for Enfield yet, because I know it's a main one. You finally found something funny to do? I mean, finding anything to do is generally always a good thing. What is the thing? I know I'm gonna take probably hours to do... I always take hours to do story stuff. Somehow I don't think that's a funny thing to do. Plus it's never good to really lie. But, yeah, I'll either go through it today or tomorrow. As I do need to grind on Echoes of Aincrad as well. Means the enemy levels are going to be increasing. So, I'd like my levels to be a bit higher. Free food. You know, pregnant women don't tend to eat more because they want it. It's just because the thing they're growing inside them requires them to eat more foods. That, and it tends to mess up what they actually want to eat. So they get very odd cravings. I put it down to because you've got two different tastes. You've got your own, and then you've got whatever's growing inside you. And it makes this amalgamation of really odd combinations. You're losing your mind. Oh. Keep hanging on with that mind. It's your only one. They do. All young creatures do. You know where they do those videos on YouTube with new characters where they get them and they sort of do meme galores when they're doing their attacks and stuff? Hello Rain! Hello! Welcome in! Good morning! I hope you had a good rest. Slowly working on the new story. It's been enjoyable so far. I see, I see. Yeah, I want to record mine when I do it, because every time I don't record it, I'm just like, oh, I should have recorded it. And I was only ever doing sort of like character event things. A lot of rest, glorious. It's good to have plenty of rest. It's nice to go through what I've done when I go through it. Being weird is a good time, big chum. It either means having fun or trying to find fun. Both are important. My body's not liking me. Crouch. Shrimping, whatever it says. Mainly on my neck, which is surprising. I accidentally fell asleep shortly after you got home, slept until 2 AM, went back to sleep again and slept even more. That is definitely a lot of sleeping. But if it ends up feeling good, then grand. And Siege, thank you for the 100 bits. Thank you kindly. And you got a koi. Such koi. Let me grab your name. Ironically, I was going to end up looking for koi. I was like, it's not koi. And technically, we'll go by today then. It's fine. No, I need to bring up half my menus again. This one, this one, this one. I tried to carry on training yesterday, which I did a little, and then I was feeling kind of tired, and then I realised it was almost 2 in the morning for me, so I laid down for a little bit. I wasn't planning to doze off, and I woke up a few hours later, and it was like past 4:30 in the morning, and I'm like, I was like, do I carry on? And my brain was just like, oh. So I was like, okay, we're not carrying on. I'll just go to bed. And then it was almost 5 in the morning when I went to go to sleep. And then I woke up at 10:30. No, 10:10. 10 past 10. And I was like, oh, my head feels a bit sluggish. So I rested, which was only supposed to be for an hour, but I ended up resting for another 2 hours. Just a little over. But it was like 12:30 by the time I got out of bed. At least my head didn't feel sluggish. Sleep deprived and lazy. Well, being sleep deprived is never nice. Penguin! Hello! Hello, hello. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well. It's the weekend. I managed to get 1 level last night in Echoes of Ironcrad. It takes a long while to level up, but maybe because I'm leveling against, you know, simple creatures. I'm definitely gonna focus on getting a blade that ups the experience. I'll have to drop something off, but yeah. Oh, and because I ended up having that Valkyrie's saber. You're in Japan. Whoa. You're in Japan. Where's my... It's like 11:20 at night over there. So I suppose it's not too odd that you're up late at night. How is the night time? Is it nice? I assume you're enjoying your time, because it's Japan. I assume anybody that goes to Japan is just having a good time. Matsumoto right now. Nice. Work. That is how retail goes actually, the weekend. Well, go back to Tokyo tomorrow and some friends will join. Nice, nice. Hopefully it won't be too hot. And even if it is, make sure you just have some water on you. If you're in the Japanese Alps, does that mean... Are you at... Well, where are you at? Like, a hot springs? Or like an inn? I'm curious. A normal hotel. Why is that in quotations? Fair enough. That is fair. Yeah, one day I want to go to Japan. Or rather, I promised I'd go to Japan, so I will go one day. One day. I just kind of didn't want to go on my own. They have normal stuff over there. Ugh. Greetings, Doug. Hope you're doing well this weekend. Don't go there if you want to go to other countries. I'm pretty good with most things, even if I really like something. The only way I'd probably journey Japan on my own is if I was quite fluent in speaking the language and also reading it. But I'm not currently, so... Not currently. It's quite a thing to learn, and I struggle to learn languages, so that doesn't really help. I mean, I know everybody does, but yeah, languages just don't seem to work with me. I hope I'm not one of those where it's just near enough impossible for me to learn languages. I hope not. I know that is a thing, so I hope that's not the case. How do? I do good. My sleep was eventually good. Eventually. But yes, I am well. I feel like if you're in a country that might have some similarities to Japanese, then it puts you in a good starting position. Because, you know, you can relate some things if they're like slightly different. Whereas we can't do that, because obviously our language is entirely different. Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, I hear my I hear more foreign languages spoken here than I do English, so... But those are more European languages. But, you know, there are days it annoys me, because, you know, I just want to hear English. But... yeah. I just need perseverance for Japanese. And to learn the broken English as well. Because you might... I know there have been scenarios where people have spoken in completely fluent Japanese, but it throws them off because you don't look Japanese, yet you're speaking it perfectly. So they end up sort of not being able to comprehend it. So what you do is you speak broken Japanese, and then they get you, which is quite funny, I found. Or like broken English. Which I find quite funny. It depends on where you go with Japan though, because obviously there's going to be areas in Japan, especially if you're going to areas that tourists don't usually go, then it could be that there's people there that have never ever seen a foreigner. So, you know, you're like this very strange creature to them. But I know they appreciate it when you bother to learn the language. They're like, wow, you actually took the time to learn it. So that would be nice. Eventually. I'll probably be somewhat old by the time I go to Japan speaking fluently, but... I know how I learned though. I would need like a dedicated tutor. Specifically. Like a private tutor. Because that's the only way I'm gonna learn. Not really. My learning, I would say, it had began a long time ago, and then it fell off, and things happened with life. So I might as well be back at square one again. Because I did want to like study it during when I was in secondary school, high school, and I did mention it to the teachers there, but they were like, no. Because obviously getting a proper teacher in that could teach it would cost, and they would need enough people to want to learn it. So instead I had to spend my years learning French, which I didn't want to learn, and German, which I also didn't want to learn, because I didn't have an interest in it. And also because of how the teachers were. Teachers do make or break if you want to learn something. Oh, don't worry, I've looked into the pros and cons of being in Japan. But overall I'd say Obviously it's not going to be for everybody, but for some of us it would just be worth it. But for ones that had been living there for a really long time, it was always from the area that they live in. Obviously those residents have gotten to know that person, so it turns into they treat you, as long as you know you've been a good neighbour, they treat you nicely and like another neighbour. But as soon as you go out from that area and you're going out and about around Japan, you're just viewed as a foreigner, even if you have lived there for a really long time, because obviously you look foreign, and it's like, sad days. You gotta give them gifts. Yeah, it's important. Can never pick up a word of Spanish. To be fair, I'm not against learning those languages. Like, I used to learn French when I was in primary school. It was actually good fun. But just secondary school was full of teachers that just kept complaining about the students, so I just didn't really want to learn. I didn't want to learn. What I should have done was skived off of those lessons and went and self-taught myself Japanese somewhere. I should have found a course in college. Even though I was in high school, I should have found a course in college that may have taught it somewhat for free. They did exist. And then I could have just gone to one of those. But those types of courses were usually towards the evening. Give them fruits every month. Now, I know for a fact that fruits in Japan are expensive. So, yeah, it would make sense that they would probably love you, because, well, that's not a cheap gift. Fruits are expensive. Like, the kind of fruits we could get could be, you know, a couple of quid or something, or a bit more than a couple of quid, I guess. But fruit in Japan is like the normal fruits from the normal grocery store. I mean, there are those, but you're giving a gift, right? Like, you don't want to give them the normal stuff. You get the good fruits, and you'll be paying, you know, 20 to 30. Teachers absolutely make and break a lot of classes like that. A French teacher loved France and all the stuff about the country. The stuff made it really engaging class. I'm pretty sure my French teacher really loved France as well. However, as I've said before, because I was very quiet, they decided to put the quiet person in with the really loud and troublemaker bunch. So, yeah. 500 euro green melon. Ironically, I was thinking of a melon as well, for the stuff that ends up being ridiculously expensive. Their strawberries are pretty expensive as well, but Japan has like some of the best strawberries in the world, so you're kind of paying for what you get. It's melon season. That is true, it is. It is time for the melons. I'm personally not that big on melon. I don't mind it, but I'm not too big on it. full of expensive ones. Ugh. Better be some good fruit. What I like with Japan as well is you pretty much get a receipt with everything. As well as, take my country for example, it's very common to just pay everything by contactless or with your card. And you can do the same in Japan, but it's still more very much used, like they still use their money, basically. Physical cash. Still. Like, I'm pretty sure contactless is there, but like, it's not the go-to over there. Which I kinda like, honestly. An abandoned grocery store. You could probably find one of those in Japan, to be fair. They have a lot of abandoned places. Only 10% tax on most stuff. Belgium is 21. Yeah, over here it's like 19-20%. No, it's 20 because VAT. Yeah, there's a 20% over here as well. So only 10% on most stuff. That's pretty cool. I just realised as well, you've gone in July. July. Probably quite warm. Probably. Maybe. I forget. Oh yeah. Really warm for 3 days, but the rest is fine. Hey! You picked a good time to visit then. But I know getting a lot of things set up in Japan is kind of awkward. Like, it's not as easy like it is over here, where it's just literally, you call up, you set up a thing, and there you go, it's done. Nah, Japan is like a lot more awkward. Especially if you're wanting to open a bank account. Oh boy. Set your day aside for that. Because, you know, when you get that sort of small wad of terms and conditions, they basically go through all of that with you to make sure you properly know everything. I like as well that if you get a vehicle for your, well, and you have a home, you can't just simply park it on your drive. You need to go to the police station and be like, yeah, I'm having a vehicle. Like, and this is where it will be, and basically a day is set aside for the police officer to basically check that it's okay for you to have a vehicle there and doesn't cause any problems. I was just like, wow, what the hell? Oh yes, the stamp, the little stamp. That stamp is, do not lose it. It is your best, it is your ticket to everything. Do not lose that stamp. It's like a process upon a process upon a process upon a process. Indeed, the all-powerful stamp. It is incredibly important. Something like that would collapse the entire US government. You have so many cars. The US people can learn to drive like when they're in school. Heck, they even give you lessons for it. That's not something that even takes place over here. You want to learn to drive? Then it's through businesses. And for how it is nowadays, if you want to learn to drive, there's such a big backlog that it's going to take you an age to even start to begin to learn. And then even when you're learning, now it's mandatory that there's a gap between your practical and your written exam. It's ridiculous. It takes so long to get a license now. Yep. So many suck at driving. I mean, considering they're basically teaching children how to drive, it doesn't surprise me that so many suck. They probably end up getting some bad habits over time and they stick with them. Yeah. It's the same here as well. There are some people that just have some bad habits and it's just like, really? Oh, and the foreigners make me laugh because they get very impatient half the time. We're following the speed limit of the road, which could be like 40, which miles per hour, by the way, not kilometers. So 40 miles an hour, and they get very impatient and they just go on the opposite side of the road and broom broom past everybody. Quite funny. Sounds about right, yeah. Oh, and a thing, speed bumps, or humps, as they are called. It makes me laugh because so many people brake just before they're approaching it, and it's just like, you don't need to brake just before you're about to go over it. Like, just drive normally, take your foot off the pedal, unless you're driving electric, but take your foot off the pedal, your car will naturally slow down, you'll go over the hump, and it's fine. But people seem to go like, brum brum, brake, and it's like, you're using more fuel doing that. It's the standard in the US, goodness gracious. Yeah. For the ones where they're like worn out, yeah, you go over them slowly and it's still like rocks the car like hell, and you're like, can they fix this please? Like maybe there's a pothole on some point of the speed bump, so it ends up being like just not great. A lot of them are steep. How fast are you guys driving? Have a good rest, Penguin. Enjoy your time tomorrow in Tokyo. Three? Look, I'm pretty sure a person walks faster than 3 miles per hour. Especially if you're on a bicycle. I mean, the whole point of a speed bump is to basically make you go very slowly. Usually, they're in areas like schools or busy town areas, city areas, you know, useful places where you shouldn't be going fast anyway. But people don't like going slow, so they're just like and it's just like no rush, just go slowly over them. But I do know what you mean, like even if you go slowly over some of them, they tend to still be utterly atrocious. I'm just convinced that they weren't made properly for those types. I always liked going over speed bumps in public transport, like a bus, because I used to sit at the back of the bus when I was a kid, and when it would go over the speed bump, I would jump while I was kneeling, so you'd gain some air time. It was good fun. It was like, the things you do as a kid. It's good fun. It just sucks for walking and stuff. The solution that's been taken is to just throw speed bumps and stuff at it rather than other things. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. I mean, to be fair, you don't have roundabouts in the US, do you? Or at least, they're certainly not common, considering most don't even know what a roundabout is half the time. So I assume they're not common in the US. I remember seeing this video where it was like, an American watches, you know, what it's like in the UK and stuff on the road, and it was showing a thing where there was an ambulance coming and all the cars, like, basically we veer off to the side to make a gap so that the ambulance can get through. Apparently he found that utterly amazing, the fact that we all just moved out the way. It's like, well, it's an ambulance, of course we're going to move out the way. Like, someone's life is in danger, so you shift out the way. Doesn't matter if you've got to quickly park on the pavement, like, you move out the way. Nah, that sucks. Oh, is how it's supposed to go there as well? What? Do you guys just, like, sit there? Oh, I'm not moving, we're just gonna sit here. Poorly made, I see. Because there's like different types of roundabouts, isn't there? There's the one where they kind of put like a lump in the middle of the road. It's not as bad as a speed hump, but they put some weird lump and you're supposed to go around it. And then you've got the proper roundabouts where, you know, it's an actual island and it's well, you can't drive over that. Like, it's just not gonna do you any favors, so... Good at making space for anything with sirens. I see, I see. Interesting. In the event though, like we're at a section where it's so full that none of us can actually move, we all sort of will move a tiny bit and then hope that the other side of the road can move further away, because then at the very least the ambulance and stuff can like go through the middle of the road, because you know either side has moved enough that it's made space in the middle. If we're really tight for space. Pace, hello. Welcome in. Hello, hello. Tis the weekend. Hope you're having a nice one. Yeah. It's like, what are you supposed to do? Like, we literally can't move anywhere. So people kind of just try the best that they can to even move, like, you know, 20-30 centimeters or something. Like, every little counts. Oh yeah, I was saying a thingy about Echoes of Aincrad. My proficiency level has reached 50, which is the max, because the numbers changed colour and given me the indication that that is indeed the max. Which makes sense, because it's 5 points per skill. And there's 10 skills, so... yeah. Cool. Now, whenever I go to unlock the side quest to buff up the sword skills, I can put +5 on them straight away, hopefully. I'm going to have a drink though, because I feel thirsty. think if I was at a place where I could sit by and enjoy the waves, well yeah, I'd probably just be sitting there enjoying the waves, honestly. Have something to protect against the sun, and just relax, hearing the waves. I guess listening to the waves, but yeah. One day. One day. Who knows? I just want to train though. Oh, that's all my brain's at. It's like, train. It takes a while. I mean, even if I think I'm at 27 now. So even if I got to level 30, that's potentially extra stats into health and stamina. They're probably not supposed to be equal. Maybe I'll get stamina up to 29. Because that's... when I get it to 30, it's just gonna put on the 5 plus 5% consumption thingy for whatever reason. So... yeah. And then maybe I should put some points into damage. Else it's gonna take longer to kill things. I guess I want to keep my agility about, what, 5 points behind my other two? That seems fair. Which would mean that I'd need 3 levels? No. That means I need quite a lot more levels. Oh well. Lots of grinding. Nothing wrong with that. Honestly, I think some of the worst grinds I've had in a game has been some Korean-based ones. Circle of Doom was a very big grind back on 360. It was a Kingdom Under Fire game. You looked through the novels again? You found the part where they sort of mention leveling. Number 2. I haven't started book 2 yet. Right at the beginning of Red-Nosed Reindeer's side story. Oh! Wait, Red-Nosed Reindeer? Not the Santa thing? A reindeer? They mention leveling. I wonder how they do go about their leveling. Because it's survivability, isn't it? So you're supposed to... Oh, it was the Santa one. Yeah. Because the way that was supposed to be... or the way it's supposed to go, I think, is you have enough stats to survive, Like, if things aren't potentially getting close to one-shotting you, or if you're able to block and still dodge out the way, even though stamina wasn't a thing in that game, because obviously it's an actual virtual reality, so it's whatever they're comfortable with. But yeah, it was like those sorts of stats first, and then power, usually. But again, I haven't read book 2 yet, so... And I wonder what the max level is. I swear I ended up looking up that the max level was 100, but I heard a thing where someone said that a guy battled thing where the boss was like level 200. So 100 can't be the max if there is a level 200 boss, because the gap in power would be way too big. So yeah, I need to make sure I have... I get the feeling leveling, like, basically health and stamina isn't probably... I shouldn't have them equal. Technically I'm supposed to have more stamina than health, but I feel like having more health than stamina is wise, even though I'm kind of centered around dodging a lot. But I feel it's important to have, you know, health. We talked specifically about the player's stats. It might be from before the light novels, possibly not fully canon, but they only had strength and agility, which always struck you as odd. I mean, it's already an odd game from the fact that they don't even have magic, but going in the lore of the Echoes of Ironcrad game, at least, they actually give lore what was happening before the floating castle. So you end up learning that humans and elves and even dwarves did have magic, and you know, there were great wars going on and stuff, but then the ability to use magic disappeared. So that's why there's no magic in this one. There's only strength and agility though. Interesting. One or the other. I assume strength would be how hard you hit, and agility would be how quickly you can move. Or, you know, how speedy you can be with your thing as well. Because that makes a point, because I remember seeing the level up screen, or sorry, the stats, when Kirito ends up taking his blade to, I know her name's not Elizabeth, but it's always weird that they just call her Elizabeth, or Lisbeth. I know it's Liz for short. But either way, Liz's shop. And you see the stats of his black blade, and all it shows is like strength, agility, and then like a fourth stat. Basically it almost looks like it has X mods on it. And his main stat is obviously strength, followed by agility. So it would have been like plus 52 strength, and then his agility was, I don't know, like a bit lower. It was like plus 19 or something. It was quite low. And then whatever his fourth skill would give for that blade. But that's the thing that gets me. Sword builds were strength. So I find it very odd in the Echoes of Ironcrad game that swords are dex. You know, they match along with the rapier and the dagger, which is very weird to me. Actually, some more stats of weapons for upgrading, like 4 or 5. From what I understood as well, and this was in the light novel, because they did mention about how upgrading works. It works in the fashion of, it has, you know, the +1, +2, +3, +4, and so on, etc. But it was meant to be random, so every time you upgraded it, it was a % chance. But from what I'm led to believe, I can't remember if it was a thing. I swear there was a thing where they said, oh, if the upgrade failed, it actually lowered it 1? I don't know if that was a thing. But I know there was, like, upgrading wasn't simply just an easy process, because it had a chance to fail. What is up, big chum? But, yeah. I would have had it where swords are strength, rapiers and daggers are like agility / dex. Maces would be dex, because it's a blunt weapon. Even though strength kind of makes sense with that as well, but you could put that as a dex weapon. And then, yeah, the two-handers, they're two-handers, so they would require strength anyway. Horror games or visual novels? If you're barely staying awake, maybe horror game. If you have plenty of time to enjoy a story, a visual novel maybe. But, yeah. I upgrade. I've been upgrading the different weapons I think might be nice with the rapier. I tried... Oh yeah, I did try that Valky's saber out, basically. It is pretty cool. It takes a little to get a full combo out, like 4 or 5 seconds, which can be quite difficult. And if you're only fighting fodder, they die in 2 hits, so it's very hard to get a full combo. Maybe if you just have endless fodder coming at you, you can manage a full combo. But the shield, the barrier that it puts up on you, it equates to whatever how the damage was on the final hit. So if you get off a good hit, then your barrier is actually pretty big. And I tested it against an elite enemy that did a skill attack. I took no damage because the barrier took it all. I was like, damn, barriers are actually really damn helpful. Just keep managing to get a full combo off. So I imagine having something that would focus on your normal attack speed and upping that, increasing that, would be wonderful for those sorts of things that activate on the final hits. Because that would be... I can just see that being so helpful. I don't get the buff for rolling and then, you know, poking things, which half the time is what keeps having me survive, because I'm just dodge rolling out the way, poking, dodge, poke, when I get surrounded by like a load of fodder enemies. And it just sort of saves me. So I don't know. Like, the buff is surprisingly more handy than the barrier, but I feel like the barrier might come in use for boss fights. I'd say it's a good boss weapon, because even with the roly pokes on a boss, because of the attacks they like to do being fairly big, yeah, you can chip away at them, but chances are your Iori will be better to whacking the enemy out of it. And so far it's following a pattern of like elites, 2 elites and a boss. So yeah, I feel like it's a good blade to have for boss fights, and they usually have a fast travel point just before a boss, so maybe stick with my wind flare for now, because it's better against the fodder. Or maybe I will go for that sprint weapon. I was going to ignore it thinking it was silly, but now that I think about it, I think it would actually be pretty good, because my initial thing I always do is I start sprinting at the enemy, because a sprinting first attack does more damage initially. So if that can be buffed by simply me just sprinting, then maybe I should do that. There are some item equipments as well that can buff the sprinting, but I do kind of like having the increased invincibility dodging window thing. I'm pretty sure it has saved my bacon more often than not. But yeah, we shall see. Definitely the saber for bosses. You can easily quickly get a good combo out that will give you a shield, and that will help immensely with the random rubbish that it likes to do at you. So yeah, that can be like my boss weapon. And then I can maybe have the sprinty one for the easy buffs. Because you don't even need to initially start doing the actual movements for the sprint. I can just hit the button that goes to put me in the sprint, and it will take it as I was sprinting. So I'm like, it's a permanent buff just for sprinting. I think those gloves I ended up getting as well. Oh, but it would replace my normal attack speed. You looked at the weapon upgrades and it's mostly talked about in Rondo of the transient sword, because difficulty with weapon upgrades is that everything has a max attempts number. Oh! So any attempt that fails and lowers it by 1 also uses up the max. Oh! Oh, damn! What an insane balancing mechanic. Oh, for example. Oh, you can upgrade it like up to 15 times. But your sword might not end up being as strong because you failed it a few times. Oh. What a crazy system. Oof. Oof. That's what happens at the beginning of a side story for one character. Imagine they're just trying to get their weapon to like a good plus. Yet it just keeps failing and failing and failing. At that point I would have just got a new blade. Like, oh, I failed like 3 or 4 times, like I'm gonna be hindered by this. I might as well just get rid of it. Interesting. Because because I progressed so slowly in Echoes of Ironcrad, they were saying about weapon merging as well, which I haven't bumped into yet. Because we can upgrade our weapon, that's its own thing, and then it said weapon merging, and it was like weapons of the same type can sort of buff themselves, I think they said. I'm not sure. But if that's the case, that's interesting. Like, how so does it buff the weapon? Are they talking about like the X mod that it does? It buffs that? So the weapon's own passive, it buffs the weapon's passive, the unique, sorry, not the X mod. That's rough though. Imagine if getting the weapon was pretty difficult to even get in the first place. Moving X mods from one weapon to another? I mean, the EX mods are something you can easily move between any weapon anyway. That's what your synthesis is. Which is a cool system because you can just easily move things around. You lose the weapon that you're taking the mods from, but you can easily transfer them to any weapon. But if it ends up, I don't know, because it calls it merging. Usually a form of merging means that you're going to get some form of boost from it, because that's why you'd merge them, and it specifically says about the same type of weapon, so that's what makes me think. I might be entirely wrong, it's only things that I've heard. I feel like I'm in the game at this point because I'm going by just random rumours I'm hearing things about. I could search it up, but if I'm going to bump into it later anyway, I'd rather not spoil myself. It can just be speculation for now. Oh. That was a good stretch. That was a good stretch. Oh. I want to know all the systems. This game seems to do it the right way. Oh, you want to unlock a glamour system. Oh, you want to unlock gear, other important things. Oh, we've got a side quest for it. It's like, oh, now these are side quests I like. You're giving me good systems. I'm glad they honestly did a glamour system early, because there's nothing better than at least being able to change the way that you look early on to what feels better for you, draws you in more. And glamour is always a form of end game anyway. I hope Banco lets them work on this game though, and lets them fix a load of things. Maybe even add a few things that we've been asking for. Hopefully. Hopefully. This lines up with how in a VR game people really should be able to do more in-depth appearance customization than getting entire preset armors that you can't change. Yeah. It should always be given early-ish anyway. People like to change how they look. I just like that when you do the quest, the lady's like, "Dear God, this thing is horrendous," or it either looks horrendous or it smells horrendous. Maybe both. But the NPC lady didn't like it and was like, "You know what? I'll just teach you how you can change your look and you do you." I don't want to bother with that. We're just like, fine. And I know we're a silent protag, but it would have been nice if they actually put in dialogue for what we're saying, rather than simply nod or shake. Like, because we truly are a silent protag, because we literally don't say anything, we just nod and shake. You can be a silent protag and still talk. FF14 does it. You're a silent person, but the dialogue choices that you say is what you're saying, and they react to that. So yeah, I would have at least made it where we would have said something. And I get it, like, it's supposed to be our character, not everyone's gonna talk in a similar fashion, but it still feels more personal to at least say something in text than it does to just simply say nod or shake head. Which one did you go with, by the way? Because obviously you have Gran, and then you've got Jita. Which, thanks to the fighting game, both are kind of like canon anyway, like they both exist. Jita. Fair enough. I also went with Jita, but I don't mind Gran either. Both are good. But yeah, options in that one and you talk. They actually do talk and say the line that is written. So you're liking Relink then? Do you just have the base game, or did you get like, or have you just been playing a demo? Or did you get Endless Ragnarok? So friends wanted to do multiplayer, so he picked up. So playing through the story there. No, that's fine, the story's good. Good fun of a story. And then, like, the post-game content afterwards is also really good. Yeah, it's a good game. Because mainly through the story, you need to have the captain anyway. So, yeah, you might as well just keep them in your team, because they're throughout the story. My main one I played through originally was with Charlotta. That was who I played with originally. She was glorious. Great fun. And then I think when I played it on stream, I was Zeta for a long while, and then I was Bow Lady, whose name I know has a particular way of being said, but I've forgotten it. But they're all really good. Like, they all have their own playstyle, which is honestly the impressive thing. I know in Endless Ragnarok they added a person who seems to do a lot of kickboxing. because she uses her legs to attack mainly. And I'm just like, yeah, it ain't punchy punch, but it's still a form of punch. She looks cool. Narmaya? Yeah, Narmaya's awesome. Yep. Narmaya has always been one of those where she can be easy to pick up and do stuff with, but if you truly want to master her, then it'll take a little time. But Narmaya's awesome. She's great. I love her design. But I'm not very good at playing her. She's a rough one for me. Charlotta was nice just because I was a speedy little bugger darting all over the place, because a lot of her skills tend to zoom her into the enemy, and then you also slash like a crazy person, and I'm just like speed and going crazy. Yep, this is my cup of tea. I had good fun. Reeling's good fun, and it seems like Endless Ragnarok carries that on, which is great. I do have it, I just haven't played it much because I've been playing Echoes of Aincrad. I think it also came out at a good time, because there's a lot of games coming out, but it came out around a time where potentially people are in the mood to play something, and if people wanted the whole game, it's not that expensive. If they're only wanting the base, or only need to get the expansion, it's, you know, not that expensive technically, so it's a very easy game to just pick up and go do. It's good fun though, good fun. So many games. So many games. Like Echoes isn't a game that I can get through quickly, not with how I play. And how much I seem to rabble on while I'm playing. I've noticed I do that a lot. But I tend to do that with games that I'm either really liking or very particular. I mean, I'm enjoying it either way. But it's funny, the more I like a game, the more picky I will be about it. Because I'm wanting it to be like even better. That's an odd way to phrase it. But I'll be amazed if they do a lot of things to fix potentially a lot of the problems that the game has. I will be quite surprised at that. Because what I feel it's gonna be is just a small team or like one or two doing bug fixes for the game while the rest work on the DLC. And then, you know, we don't hear anything from it again. And that would just be so sad. So yeah. I hope they fix some of the issues at least. Better than nothing, you know? Like, for games I'm keeping an eye on for the remainder of the year, yeah, Village in the Shade looks cool. That's the end of this month. Beast of Reincarnation, that's the beginning of next month. And then there's nothing till August. No, we're in July. September. Nothing till September. And then it's October. And I near enough think I have a load of things coming out every month, but then nothing in December. Woo, I get nothing in December, which is fine because I'll have too many bloody games anyway. And I don't have enough streaming gaming days where I can fly through big games fairly quickly. It'll take me a few months. You have to deal with this month. July. You have to deal with July. At least with August, mid-August, I will be off for 1 week. And then I would have been off in September, but they wouldn't let me have it off, so that's gonna be interesting. And then I still have a bunch of holiday after that, which they'll probably try and get me to book off in November, because nobody has November off. And I'm just like, I don't want November off. Like, there's nothing happening. I'd rather have, like, every Friday off in December or something. You wander too much. Such wandering. Can't remember who's off in December. I remember seeing names there, and it's only supposed to be one person off at a time, but I feel like they'll probably still stick to that. I can see them sticking to that and telling me to have bits of November off, and I'm just going to be like, I don't want November off. And then they'll be like, well, that's the only time you're allowed to have off. I'll be like, well, I don't want August. August? November. I don't want November off. They'll probably start hounding me in September. The thing is... well, I don't know. It was fine before with the people that we had. Either one of us could have been off. Because I basically get a lift into work, and yeah, when that person's going to be off, I'm going to either have to bike to work, which will probably take me over an hour to get there. And then when I've finished my day, I'm going to have to get all the way back, which is going to take me an hour plus. So I may just have them, even though they're supposed to be off, have them come pick me up, because it's quicker than me biking. Supposedly, because at one point work was bugging me to learn to drive, I assume that this is them trying to force me to learn to drive. And I'm just like, no. One, I don't like being forced to do something. And two, I'm trying to save money at the moment. If I have a vehicle I have to look after, that's a chunk of money that's gone. So, no. Not right now. The only downside I worry over is them picking me up, because now and again they'd forget to leave on time, and then I'm there waiting for ages for them to come pick me up. So I think around that time I'm going to top up my phone and on my second break call them to make sure that they're awake and be like, yeah, well, I'll call them near the end of my break and be like, yeah, come pick me up soon, like I finish in half an hour, come. Takes about 15-20 minutes getting to me, but if there's traffic, then I feel like leaving around that time would be useful. No, I instead get to stand around for 6-7 hours listening to the same music played every single day, months on end, all year round, with people speaking languages that I can't understand, and being asked about 10 times a day, are you doing alright? Every single day. as well as having to go to a stupid brief in the morning that doesn't tell you anything new every single day, wasting 15 minutes of my time. But yes. Yeah, yeah. That sounds about right for our jobs. That's why whenever they want me to be happy, I'm just like, give the most fed up response I possibly can, until they eventually try to officially tell me off and then threaten me. Oh. The subplot wasn't removed from the official release? It makes me want to like search up the systems that are in Echoes. Like literally just have a list of systems that are in the game. But yeah. Yeah. Also, I like how in the progressive book, Argo actually visits Kirito when, like, Asuna goes to have a bath and stuff. and like they just end up having a whole conversation, mainly about the blade and who's trying to like acquire his blade and stuff. Like they have that full-on discussion. He ends up having some realization, like it's not Kibu, however you say his name. It's not the spiky dude who was trying to actually buy his blade, it was somebody else. And then so Kirito was like, who's working through him? And then while he let Argo go off, Argo instead goes to go towards the bathroom, to which they get surprised that Asuna's there, obviously naked. For some reason she runs out away from Argo and goes towards Kirito to slap him in the face in the book, and I'm just like, what the hell? Yet in the progressive film, the first one, they didn't show that. They showed the scene where he takes her along and she goes and have a bath, but they never showed the conversation with Argo and stuff. You only have the physical version of Progressive 1, so you couldn't quickly page through the PDF to search for the... Yes, I guess that is the downside, maybe, of a physical version, is having to manually find things if you don't remember where they were. I was quite a ways through the first book. I was meant to finish it before Echoes came out, but I never did. But at the very beginning of the progressive book, it does show the first floor boss, so Ilfang, and it does show the second floor boss, who apparently is a big status bugger. And I'm like, oh, okay. This weapon upgrades such as sharpness, quickness, accuracy, heaviness, durability. Yes! Yes, it does! That's why I was like, there's no durability in Echoes. Each upgrade bumps one of those, which changes the way each works. Does that mean it's random then? Like, he doesn't get to pick. Great googly moogly. To some degree I wish the same for mine as well, but sadly money, I can't afford to do that right now. So the obvious answer would be to find a new job, but in turn that would be easier if I knew how to drive. So as soon as I know how to drive, it would turn into pretty much I would leave that place, I feel. Pretty sure they select which stat they want to upgrade when they do it. Okay, not random. That'd be a bit of a crazy upgrade system, wouldn't it? That you just randomly get allotted one. Yeah. Like, you're not gonna be there long, so they won't take you. Usually if companies are gonna take someone who's only there for a short time, they at least want you for a couple of months, not just 1 month. Because our company does a thing where we have people for like 3 or 4 months, and they're okay with that. But that was the thing with upgrades, is that it had so many different stats. The fact that accuracy was one of them is kind of crazy. But the fact that you had heaviness and durability, I can't remember if heaviness was actually that it was increasing it or decreasing it. Durability is obvious. I think the ones you usually wanted was like sharpness. Maybe heaviness increased its attack because you're hitting something with a more weighted weapon. But there's nothing like that in ours. We have the EX mods, which is basically the same system, I believe. But there's things for like upgrading attack, upgrading defense, stamina, and then it's a bunch of like other things for like percentage things, so like sprinting speed, stamina consumption, status ailments, that kind of thing. Yeah, that's fair. I did find it interesting when they did mention it though, because obviously they hadn't mentioned it before, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Stretch. Oh, I stretched and my lamp came on. Thank you for the ether charge. And the stretch. I was kind of hoping eventually, like, maybe there could end up being a quest that would extend the amount of mods you could apply onto a weapon by like 1 or something. So instead of having 4, you can now have 5. Because that would have been cool. Just having 1 extra slot could have been so nice. Because maybe you might just need that little extra thingy that you wish you had, but can't because you can only fit on 4. Because like, the stuff I've put on for Iori is very similar to me. So there's like stamina consumption down, but I gave her damage taken down because, well, I need her to be somewhat a tank, so it makes sense too. But instead of giving her 2 like attack mods, in a way, I gave her a thing where it's like status affliction up, and then the buff for she does more damage against things that have a status ailment, which so far is just an extra 25%, but that's pretty good. 25% extra of her damage when she's got them blinded, which is more often than not. And yeah, it's great. Mine instead is like dodging invincibility window, dodging invincibility window. I've entirely forgot what I had. I had that. I had attack. I had stamina consumption and sword skill damage. Yes, that's what I had. Because I can dodge like a crazy person and not take any damage. I mean, every time I've done so, I've not seen that I've taken damage, so I believe my invincibility window is doing work. So yeah, I know she works well with that blade. It's interesting what they do, what they said in the game though. It's like, it limits their field of vision and they don't really move when they're blinded, so I feel like a blinded blade is fantastic. The others were like, oh, burning damage does tick damage, but frost makes it so that their defense is lowered, I think. They take more damage when they're frozen, but they'd still be able to see. So I end up thinking that potentially being blinded is the most effective because the AI doesn't do anything much. It may attack if you attack in front of it, but if you keep sticking to its sides, it just sort of keeps jumping away. And you can just keep hitting it in the meantime while it's not doing anything, so it's free damage. There was Dazed as well, which works in a similar fashion to being blinded. It hinders their vision, but it also hinders their movement. They can't move. So, and the only weapon types that inflict daze are maces. I don't think it has to be the two-handed type. But I wonder if I can give Iori a mace instead of a sword. And have her inflict daze instead. Because then the bugger can't move. And we could just wail on it. That seems a bit OP to me. Many different builds to consider. Like, I was initially going to go with a sleep build eventually, but it seems like as soon as they take damage, they wake up. So maybe it depends on the animation for when they fall asleep and when they wake up. Maybe that's the window of punishment you use on them. Potentially. Or I can just go the burning route, so that I put burn on them and they just slowly burn. Tick damage. Which could be nice. But I have something in mind for my final weapon. If I ever see it. Who knows. But I need the loo. I need the loo, so I shall be back shortly. Never time to ask them. Hello. Hello, hello. Welcome in, welcome in. It be the weekend. Whether that be joyous enough is down to you. Yes. Hello, Iron. And hello, Beast. Yeah, I'm okay. It's the weekend, so it's the best time, really. Hope you're doing well. At least it's something to do. these times do be shorter than the usual. More than the usual. Does remind me of the wind though. Hello Capricorn. Hello, hello. Welcome in. Hope you're doing well. Good. Good stuff. Good, good. I'm glad to hear it. I am good, I believe. It's the weekend, so I'm glad for the weekend. That's one hyper nod. Yeah. Yeah. Probably right there. That's a 3-hour nap. That seems more like a rest, but yes. Popped in just to say hi. Hello. Hello, hello. Stuff to do with family. Okie dokie, Toby. Hi bye. Hi bye. Have a good rest of your day too. Do your thingy. Yeah, there you go. But I hope you have a good day with your family. Blame your brother. Always blame the, well, the other sibling. Days of chilling by the sea. For those that cannot. It's the closest we can be. Technically there was one that had seagulls as well, but no one wants to listen to seagulls. So just hearing the sea is enough for me. Hugo, hello, welcome in. Hope you're having a nice weekend. It's always strange, actually. The character ends up changing a lot. In the sense of moving. When I'm moving my lower back, it seems like the whole model seems to move, but it's like, I'm pretty sure my upper half isn't really moving, but could be wrong. Could be wrong indeed. But, yeah, even though it's only 2 days, always flies by really quickly. Probably because on the Saturday, I go to bed so late anyway. Like, from the Friday, so a good portion of the morning is kind of gone. sadly for today though, I shall call it here. So I will look for someone to raid. Just looking at who's on. Go raid Lena. Shall raid. Raid away. Good old, if you're subbed, use the one with the emote. If you're not, use the one with the hearts. Discord is there, YouTube is there for VODs, and I won't say a weekly video, but the random video that I do put on now and again. I sort of start them back up again. But yes. No problem. Thank you as well, Rain. As always. Do appreciate it. And yeah, have a nice weekend. All of you. Enjoy it, even if it's got work as well, but do enjoy in some shape or form. And yeah, take care of yourselves. I'll be streaming on the Tuesday. More Echoes of Aincrad. But yes. Bye bye everybody. Bye bye. Whoa.